Hi, Katie. Thank you for good to see you again. Thank you for joining us again. Feel free to just pick up where we left off from our last session.
Yeah. Um, I've been dealing with something pretty big. Last week, actually, I walked into my brother who hung himself. Um,
Mhm.
and ever since that, I've just been I'm not quite sure how to like go forward. I'm nervous to like I feel like I can't even go back to my normal life with work. Um, Everything just feels very sad and I just feel hopeless at this point. It's been hard.
Wow, that's really heartbreaking. I'm really sorry that you experienced that, and I can hear and I can feel that you're just feel sad, and you said hopeless. And are you worried about going back to work, or is there pressure to go back so soon?
Um, I feel like I'm kind of in the middle of like I almost want to go back because it's it's really hard being alone with my thoughts all
Mm,
day. Um, but I know too that if I go back, I'm not sure if I can really like be there and be present.
mhm.
Um, so it's just kind of difficult there. My mom, she's not dealing with it well. Um, so it's just hard because I feel like I can't even really feel what I'm feeling unless I'm like alone in my own
Mm,
space. I kind of have to
okay.
keep up a shield, in front of like my mom and everything.
Yeah, I completely understand. I mean, the pressure that you must feel to be a certain person or even have to perform a certain way at expectations when, as you said it, like you feel like you're not allowed to feel what you feel when you are alone.
Yeah.
Tell me more about those thoughts. What are those thoughts and feelings that you have when you are alone?
Yeah. I mainly just feel very confused. Um, I'm very religious and feel like I'm kind of combating that, like my connection with God.
Mm,
Um, I'm confused why this would happen. And,
yeah.
he was only like 5 years older than me. So, it doesn't feel right. It feels just something that I don't understand. Like the God that I believe in wouldn't
Mhm,
like why would this happen? So I'm really just
mm,
questioning my faith, my spirituality right now. And it just feels very I'm just not sure where to go from here. Like
mm.
I just feel very
Yeah,
lost.
you're feeling lost, you're feeling confused, you're feeling speculative of your spirituality.
Yeah.
Is there anything more of that that you'd like to share in that confusion, or is there something you'd like to tell me more about the God that you believe in?
Yeah. Um it's hard because like the God that I believe in, like why would he let this happen?
Hmm.
Um, you know, my brother, like he was a good person. He never did anything wrong. It's just very sad and I just feel very lonely and it just feels really wrong. And I just don't know how I'm supposed to like still go to church on Sundays and
Mm,
sit there and, pray when I don't even know what I'm praying for at that, like who am I praying to? Because it
yeah.
doesn't feel like there is a God at this point.
Mm. You feel like there isn't a God at this point. Um, what what are some of the steps that you have done to help bring yourself through confusion or when you're in those low points of isolation?
Yeah. I mean, it hasn't been that long, so I feel like I'm still trying to navigate this. But I feel like I have been trying to get outside and go for a walk. It's been hard, to
Mhm,
get out of bed. Um, so that's been helping somewhat. I do feel better after I do that. But I'm also just kind of like I'm having a hard time eating and just like I
mm,
mean, my friends are checking up on me and I don't even
mhm,
I just don't want to talk to anyone. Um,
mm,
so I feel like I'm kind of isolating myself. So I'm not really responding to anyone.
yeah.
That's kind of how I'm dealing with it.
Um, tell me more about is that tell me more about what the disconnect with following up with others. Why is there hesitancy with that, or is there uncertainty? Could you explain a little bit more about the hesitancy to reach out to others that are reaching out to you?
Yeah. I kind of just feel like I don't know what to say. They're asking
Okay.
me how I am, and it's like it almost feels annoying because it's like obviously I'm not doing well. Like my
Mhm.
brother just died,
Yeah.
um, I'm not sure what I'm supposed to say, like, oh, I'm, hanging in there, or, because I'm like, yes, I am hanging in there, but I'm also
Mhm.
really not. Like,
Mm.
this isn't, something. So I just feel like I don't know what to tell them as if, like, I know that they're just being nice and they're, trying to be there
Mhm.
for me, but I just don't know how to answer them because I feel like I
Mm.
am supposed to, like, just tell them, like, thank you so much. And I guess I should just leave it at that.
Mhm.
But yeah.
Yeah, if you don't mind me summarizing just a little bit, just some of the things you've been describing is as you've been processing the grief of losing your brother by suicide, you yourself are having a hard time with even understanding what you're feeling and even the honesty of how to communicate those feelings. You sense that it happens when you're alone, when you're kind of alone in your thoughts. At the same time, there's also competing pressure for when you're not alone, when you're around your mom and around maybe coworkers or some of your friends that are trying to reach out, or maybe you're watching them struggle as well. Um, that also doesn't help because that gives you feel more pressure in that to not even know what to say, what to do. Then on top of that, your spirituality is your core belief system has been deeply affected by this too. So I think something I would like to ask you is what were some of the indicators that led you to come talk to me? What were some of the reasons that led you to take this bold step when you've been feeling all this confusion and the feelings you don't understand?
Yeah. Um, I think it mainly is because I have just been, I mean, I've been feeling really hopeless, like I mentioned before.
Mhm.
I don't feel like myself.
Okay.
I feel like I'm kind of in someone else's but like I'm just here and
Mm,
it's very like I don't even know how to explain it, but
mhm,
I know it doesn't feel right and I do want to get back to myself because I know that my brother wouldn't want me to continue
mhm,
on this way. And I feel like I
mm,
can't talk to anyone else and so it's important for me to talk to someone
mhm,
and you're that person right now. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. I hope to continue to be that person for you. And we are concluding our session right now, but I want to just encourage you that even though that you are experiencing matters describing of like you're kind of like floating, you have a sense of like floatlessness, maybe a sense of like aimlessness, you have emotions that you are struggling to communicate or even express, you have feelings that you're not yourself, and you're even not sure of like of why this has happened. And so all of these things can be added together and point towards that what you have experienced and what you are experiencing is a traumatic event. This is a deeply rooted um, pain that you're experiencing. And so we hope to connect together and to continue forward in this relationship so that we may find ways to work forward together and to find new and creative ways of how to address the feelings that you're having and to remember your brother in an honorable way and to reconnect you with your spirituality and with your loved ones. And so thank you for your time today.
I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Mhm. Okay,
You did a great job. So now it's this feedback, right?
feedback time.
Yeah. Um, wow. You didn't even like, you know, you didn't even take a moment like between. I feel like I would have kind of been like,
Mm.
oh, I don't know what to say right now. No, you did a really good job.
Okay,
You did a good job validating my feelings and
good.
also summarizing them in a way of like, I mean, I was just listing out sort of small things here and there of how I felt, but you really put it together
Mhm.
and made sense of it. So that was helpful. You
Good.
also were just like, I mean, you had great eye contact the whole time. You never
Mm,
like were looking around. And you had good empathy for like the situation. So, but you also didn't focus on it to the point where it was like, I'm so, sorry for this.
mm,
Like, you didn't pity, like, you were just there for that. Cause obviously
mm,
other people would be like, you know, um, so yeah, you did a really good job at that.
mm,
And yeah, I think just like you recognized how I was feeling, you recognized that it was a traumatic event and you just kind of summarized how I was feeling at that time. So you did a really good job.
mhm. Okay, good. Thanks. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it felt a lot harder than I was
Really?
maybe what I was expressing. Yeah, because um it was hard. So like yeah, then the communicate practices to manage the counselor experiencing vicarious trauma. So what was really interesting is that like that you picked like this, this scenario and um I've never had a family member or loved one, make this decision or go through this, but
Yeah.
I've been in a role where I've like, I've been like a pastor or like a spiritual leader for someone for like, giving off that same almost that same scenario. And it was really hard for me to like think about, okay, how am I supposed to do this the right way? And then I was thinking about how I did it before previously while you were talking. And it was like I had like this inner pull of like, okay, you've said this before or you've heard this before, so maybe it's a good time to say this then. But then it was like pulling back and honestly like the videos were really helpful and like the video of like the scenario that we watched together with
Yeah.
the that was in their assignment, like um the validation that that person was giving was actually like really inspiring, and I was just like, okay, I need to just stick with those type of attuning reflecting devices because my temptation was to just speak a lot of like truth maybe, or like tell
Yeah.
you, hey, these are reasons why you shouldn't be confused, or you shouldn't be this affected, you should do this instead. um but um but yeah, I tried to just be person centered which is hard when it's like trauma because like you're in a position of pain. So it's like
Yeah.
your understanding of what you're going on is hard. Um
I
but
wouldn't
yeah,
have
no,
known that
thanks.
that was difficult for you. So you did
Okay.
a really good job
Yeah.
of hiding that and yeah, responding properly. So good job.
Yeah. Cool. I think that went well.
Yeah, good job.
Okay. So now I'm going to stop recording.